Hey everybody, I got another helicopter review for you today. Now, if I had been told that I was going to fall in love with helicopters, having been an airplane flyer in flight sim now for 30 plus years, I would have said you were cuckoo. But I'm really loving it, and this is no exception. This is the Mosquito XE. This is an ultralight personal helicopter. So as you can see sitting here on the outside, and we're at Grand Canyon National, by the way, it is a very small little bug, but it is a lot of fun to fly. The developer has done some really nice work with it. I actually did a review last night for it and woke up this morning to do the editing on the video and discovered that the developer had released an update. So this is the updated version. A couple of features that are really sweet on this is you can switch the avionic gauges and put them up on the columns here. I have a hard time hitting the switches here for some reason, but there it is. Okay, so you can put the gauges up here, which I find very, very useful. You can turn on a flight director here, which is a nice touch. And then you have just your regular buttons, alternator, battery, and so forth. The starter is here on the stick. Fuel control is down there. Now, the only way you can actually tell you're on it is the action of the direction of the arrow changes. Then you have a twist grip and a governor switch for here. So the startup procedure, as we are good to go here, so we are going to start up. And let me make sure we have some sound here. Okay. So the startup procedure is the main battery goes on first. Then the avionics breaker. Now I can't see those too good and the zoom doesn't work here. So I'm going to have to lean forward here and see which one is the avionics. Okay, it's this one here. Avionics. Okay, there we go. Now, after that, we have the fuel valve on. And again, it's hard to tell when you're on this, but maybe not in other types, but in VR it is. Okay, fuel valve is on. Roll on collector. Check. Switch governor. Check. Both mags on. 1, 2, check. Alternator breaker on. I think that is that one there. Check. Starter on cyclic. Check. Well, it's a pretty simple startup procedure. Went pretty good. That gauge is not the same gauge that I had earlier when I flew in this little buggy. So now Airland FS is required, like the other helicopters, but it's worth putting on because these helicopters are getting better and better. Now this guy has a lot of juice. I'm going to go very careful here because this thing really has some zip to it. And as you can see, the green is not very much. 70 is yellow, and then 80 is red. So in here too, 1,000 feet per second is yellow, and so you got to be very, very careful. You will overstress this. So now I'm going to give it a little bit of rudder because I'm going to expect some of the twist from taking off. But let's just get up off the ground. This is one of my favorite places to do helicopter operations, by the way, is the Grand Canyon. Alright, there we go. Okay, not too bad. Not bad, okay. Again, it has a lot of zip, so I want to be very careful with it. I'm like right over that guy's head. I probably threw up a little dust. So, speaking of dust, this had a prop wash effect when I flew last night, and it was really nice, but it was really overdone. and the developer has removed that. I don't know if he's going to rework it or not, but it was a very nice feature. But it followed you, you know, over the trees, over water, and everywhere. So, all right, so I'm going to slow it down just a little because we are really moving here. So now let me see if I bring up my flight director here. All right, good. So we got that now. I don't really need it, but it's nice to see. So let's go ahead and shut that back off. I like that addition for sure. Yeah, I really like how this little thing flies. I have to adjust my physical seat here because I'm too far away from my own. There we go. Okay. I was kind of far away from my physical flight stick here. Because that's how I fly, even in VR. If you look at the video I have, I think it's called Flying as I Fly, and you'll see that even though I have a VR headset on, I use physical rudders, I use a physical flight yoke, or I swap it out for my HOTAS, and I have a throttle quadrant. I just know where all of those are by feel and by location, because I line up my virtual equipment with where my physical equipment is, and so when I reach for it virtually, I am going to hit it, and so I know where my equipment is. Not to mention the fact that, as I said earlier, I've been sitting behind a flight yoke now for some 30 years. I think my rudder pedals, which I'm going to replace someday, are actually the original rudder pedals that I got for Microsoft Flight Sim Combat. So if you guys remember the combat flight simulators from Microsoft, and I know that was quite some time ago, that's how long I've had these rudder pedals. I've gone through 3 flight yokes and a few HOTAS. I have the alpha controls now for my flight yoke and a Thrustmaster. I think it's the 1600 is my HOTAS. The throttle quadrant is just your basic SciTech, but I am going to be upgrading that soon to the same ones that make my honeycomb flight yoke. I can't recall their company name now. But as you can see, this is a very stable little bird to fly around in. I am having treetops. No problem maintaining altitude and speed with it. It really is handling, I think, even better than it was last night. But I don't even know if there were changes made to the flight dynamics, or I just have a better handle on the way it flies from my earlier flying. Hovering is really nice. It seems to be easier to hover with this than some of the bigger helicopters that I have flown. It is very, very tricky and sensitive landing, which makes sense because you have like no body here and an awful lot of prop up there, a lot of wing space above you. So as soon as you get close to the ground, you really have to start paying attention or you're going to go quick. And it also overstresses very, very easy. More so, I think, with the speed of travel than with the vertical speed. Because I have been between 10 and 15 with the vertical speed and have not had an issue. But as soon as I've gotten anywhere close to 70, this thing it's gone. I'm down. Now, I have to say though that thinking back that both those times I might have actually had floats on, because yes, this helicopter does have an option for floats if you open up the weights and fuel from the virtual menu, or if you're not flying virtual, just from the menu. You will see all you have to do is add weight to the where it says floats. I put in 40 and I got floats, and I can now take off and land in water. And so I love having that capability. There is, I think it's, I don't know, I'll have to check. I'm going to go to the outside view for a second here, because the developer had a really nice blue smoke exhaust in addition to the heat fumes that really look nice. So I'm going to see if that's still there. So the exhaust is visible in VR, which I like. It's a nice touch. The props look really good here. I'm just kind of hovering it for a second because it makes the recording a little more stable. It's kind of interesting that the smoke is still going that way, even though my helicopter now is, well, I guess I am still moving that direction. But yeah, it's nice inside and out. Alright, so yeah, I guess I was kind of moving that direction. So I think the smoke might have been a little off kilter there, but alright, let's come on, let's turn here and okay, easy. I don't know what'll overstress this thing, so I'm like being super cautious now in my maneuvering. I really don't know if this would be a bird to take in the canyon. Gosh, I don't know why I keep calling it cannon. But anyhow, I am going to get down a little bit lower. I'm going to slow down a little bit because I personally really like to go over the edge here at treetop level. It just seems to make it more amazing when you get over that drop. So I'm going to keep my speed here down. Yeah, 50, 45. All right, that seems good. Altitude is good. So, a couple of cars. Hey, you guy was tailgating. See that? I don't like having the cars on because they're not realistic. They go, wow, now that's awesome. Oh my God, that's so cool. This is part of the reason why I'm falling in love with helicopters. I know that I fly some planes that are slow enough to come in here and see this and have it be impressive, but to just stop in a helicopter here and look, it's just amazing. And this helicopter gives an awesome view. Awesome view. So I want to slow down my speed a little bit here. I actually landed over there in my review video, and it wasn't easy. It's not an easy little guy to land. Like I said, I think it's because there's so much wing up there and so little body. But it is a real vehicle. You can look it up. Whoa. How can I be descending that fast? Man, did that seem like I'm descending at 2,000 feet per second? Sure doesn't seem like it to me. Wow. But that's what I mean. You got to really watch it. And that's why I like having that option to put the gauges up there. I hope that doesn't go away because it really does help, because I don't want to be looking down all the time. So, but yeah, so I'll have to learn the numbers for this. I'm sure since it's a real bird that there must be manuals out there and specs. But yeah, isn't this awesome? The Grand Canyon. Yeah. Only through flight sim and the magic of virtual reality and the wonderful beneficence or benevolence. I can never remember which of those two words I want to use. The wonderful community that we have of, okay, let's go on this side here. Yeah, let's go on this side and go down over here. Yeah, this community that we have of developers is just, what I like about flight sim community. You know, everybody gives, it seems. If somebody discovers a way to make it better, make graphics better, we got the guy that developed the OpenXR toolkit, which, you know, because of that OpenXR toolkit, I can achieve frames in excess of 40 frames per second in VR with my with my Quest headset, my Oculus Quest, and the graphics are still pretty awesome. And prior to that, I couldn't, you know, if I got 30, I was really lucky. And I usually had to have things turned down, and that's with a 3070 graphics card on top of that. but because of OpenXR, I'm able to get great graphics at a frame rate that's just really, you know, really awesome. Let's see, what is it right now? Let me check it. Okay, I know that it's out of sight up there. But right now, I know you can't see it, but it is saying 41. Whoa, 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 see? All right, see, now that's what happened. I got into an area where, because I wasn't paying attention, I got sucked in. Yeah, helicopters. They're not quite the same as an airplane. You can't just kind of set it as easily and trim it and then just let it go. But yeah, my frame rate counter right now is showing 41 frames per second. That's an Oculus Quest 2 headset using SteamVR and virtual desktop app from the Oculus Store. I do not use the Oculus driver, so I do not use the Oculus debug or the Oculus... Whoa, how did I overstress it? All right, so that's what I mean. So as you just heard, I overstressed it somehow. Now, I look at the gauges, and you can go back and pause it, and you'll see I was only at about 60 to 65 knots, and I was descending at about 500 to 600, I think. So I'm not sure why it overstressed it. So you really got to stay, I think, even lower. But anyways, so it's a really awesome little helicopter. Now, this is from last night, and you can see a couple differences. You can see one, a sun visor above my head here, and that's been removed, and the developer says that's not likely to come back. I think that's good. I prefer it without it, actually, so I like that. You can see also in this I have the floats enabled, and I'm going to land here down in the canyon. I like landing in the Colorado River. It's kind of a, I think it's the Colorado. It's kind of a neat thing, but you got to be careful because when you land in the river, you don't stop. You continue to float downstream, but it's an awesome little helicopter. This is prior to the update, so you can see I got a slightly different gauge. I don't have the button that turns on the PFD. The dust effect, which you might see in a minute here as I get lower, has been removed. But either way, it's awesome. The guy's done some great work with it. He's updated it twice already since it's been released just a few days ago, and it's made a big difference. And so, yeah, if you like helicopters and you want to really see some neat scenery and have a lot of fun, I recommend this. Highly recommend this as a fun little toy. Hey, thanks for watching, and even though I'm in the river, I'll see you in the skies. All right, here we're in the river. Now, because we're in the river, I got a feeling I'm just going to keep floating downstream. But there you go. Awesome, awesome little buggy. I really think I'm going to have a lot of fun in this guy. Obviously, I don't think I should be getting the ground effect smoke here. So I think that should be tuned down. Yeah, I think the ground effect smoke should be tuned down, but I love the exhaust smoke. I love the exhaust heat. I love pretty much everything about this little bird.